What will never be the same again once the pandemic is over? Obliviousness to how many things I touched between hand washings. My definition of personal space. My bank balance. In the words of the great Tiger King himself, I'm never gonna financially recover from this. Hey there, are you subscribed yet? Please do. Also leave a like on this video to help out the channel. Office life. My company has already announced that once we are allowed to go back, we'd only be going once or twice a week. It seems many realized how feasible working from home is. A massive amount of people now know they can work from home. I will not take hugs for granted. My waistline. Ask someone who did time, they'll notice all the stuff we got used to. My attitude towards my entertainment backlog. Previously I used to look at my PlayStation library or my Netflix list and think, if I just had a few weeks off, I could make a serious dent. I've had more than a few weeks off and my backlog seems if anything more endless. I'll probably be in the retirement home with that little voice in the back of my head going, Peaky Blinders is meant to be good, should get on that. I'm glad you are enjoying this video. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. As a nursing assistant, I will be forever oh so hesitant to get near someone, particularly the elderly who like to cough directly at you without my eye shield and mask. Standing next to someone after they sneeze. All-you-can-eat buffets. Drinking fountains. Healthcare workers going to work without a mask on. Definitely took for granted seeing my co-workers' smiling faces during my long shifts. Small businesses. Food delivery just being dropped off on your doorstep. Remember when you had to go outside and make eye contact like some kind of person? No more, my friends. Just leave it outside and I'll get it when I'm ready. No more scrambling to find pants when you're half-baked and hungry. Shopping will continue to be mostly online and malls will likely die out faster than they were already going to. Most of the mom-and-pop stores in my town are gone forever. Some of these stores I grew up with, the Nickel Arcade, the tiny French bakery my aunt took us to when we got good grades, the only ramen shop open after 10 p.m., my favorite donut shop, the fancy British tea shop I never had a good date in but many London fogs that were utterly perfect, the only dim sum place, the handmade mochi and tea shop, the only cigar shop in town to get fancy cigars. I lament the death of all these tiny businesses I took for granted. I always thought they'd be around. Now my community is left with just brand-name box stores, no more originality and flavor. Just closed skyrise buildings surrounded by a garishly lit Denny's, Olive Garden, and Target. Blowing out the candles on your birthday cake. My faith in humanity. As a current college student, I am in favor of keeping recorded lectures. It's way more helpful than just having notes or slides. The phrase, avoid it like the plague, turns out people don't do that. People coming into work sick to show how dedicated to work they are or saving those days for mental health days meant ironically. No Justin, don't come over to my desk with your coughing and runny nose telling me how bad you're roughing it at work to get some sympathy. If you're looking for sympathy, look under the dictionary between shit and syphilis. I am afraid that a lot of karaokes and spas in our country will go out of business. Hopefully working from home, WFH, will become more of a normal thing, and companies will have much smaller offices. Having been the funeral organist for numerous pandemic-caused deaths, I can bear first-hand witness to the sad fact that the families and friends of the departed brought to their death by COVID-19 will never be the same. Movies, unfortunately. Cinema specifically. I'm sure a lot of production companies will take enormous losses or possibly file bankruptcy as no one is paying to go see movies anymore. The other issue being that no one can really make movies at the moment either. Travel bans all over, logistic issues, actors not able to be within close proximity to one another, and then all the post-production work that, for the most part can't be done from home. Little to no support for creative arts jobs from governments around the globe. Artists encouraged to retrain in other sectors. It's devastating. Anytime you're sick, you'll wear a mask. I'm amazed at all the times I flew before when I had a cold, and didn't wear a mask. I have the impression that people has shown their worst part and this will have consequences for a long time. I'll have to start putting makeup on the lower half of my face, crap. Video games. They feel like they did when I was a teenager again. Usually I feel guilty that I'm not doing something more productive, but right now I could care less about spending a whole weekend doing almost nothing but playing video games. I'd feel fantastic if remote work remained permanent. I can get rid of my second car to save money. Lunch at home. Meetings are shorter and less annoying than in person. People have actually been sending work over email instead of interrupting me with their random bullshit. And it's pretty awesome not having to deal with traffic or deal with people in general. I don't understand people who are dying to go back to the office. Seriously. Hopefully your boss will finally admit that all his dumb meetings actually could have been emails all along. Cruise ships, dubious that industry will come out the other side without radical changes. Costco free samples sad face. A small thing, but I hope the QR code menus at restaurants stick around. They'll probably leave the plexiglass things up. That's probably it. Hopefully frequent hand washings will become the norm. And hand sanitizers in shops, restaurants and public spaces. As someone who refuses to touch food if I haven't washed my hands, I am emidophobic. I'm terrified of the stomach flu. This endless supply everywhere I go is really nice. And people who usually don't care about washing their hands do it more often. My respect for a great many people. I've enjoyed the solitude of not having so many social obligations. Once this is all over, I'll have to go back to being the asshole that lies about not feeling well to get out of them. Snow days for school edit. Tie for dutes. This is highest dutes ever for me smiley face. Airline fares. Now they're doing all this validity extension and not charging change fees. As soon as COVID is over, they'll go right back to the restricted fares of before. I think masks are going to become standard in hospitals or when someone is sick. Other than that, I think life will be almost the same within 5 years. The US government, hopefully. I want us to get rid of the two-party system and truly elect those into Senate and House of Reps who have the best interest of the world and the people at heart. This red and blue shit is too much. People actually give a crap about hygiene. I thought I was crazy washing my hands for a minute after I used the restroom or used a paper towel to open doors while leaving it when so many other people didn't. Completely grossed me out. Who knew understanding how viruses work would be a life pro tip? Coughing or sneezing in public places. I really hope people will keep wearing masks on public transport. At the least I'll keep wearing mine. I used to get so many colds, but now I'm not on packed trains. I haven't caught a single sniffle. Blowing out birthday candles on a cake then eating it. Literally this morning, our local paper reported that the government is aiming to achieve full internet coverage throughout Indonesia, reaching even the remote villages by 2024. We had a local meme as our boomer minister said a few years back something in the line of, "Why do we need strong internet access?" It took the poor stealing smartphones for the sole purpose of letting their kids attend online classes to convince them. So the answer to the question is, some boomers' view on the value of internet accessibility. Childhood development theories. We now have an entire group of children who have missed what are regarded as developmental milestones. Learning to play cooperatively with others, learning to share, empathy building, etc. It will be very interesting to see the research coming out over the next decade or so. Fewer weddings, more elopements. I'm hoping that this convinces the American, pretty much everyone else has this figured out already, masks that healthcare is a human right and should not be tied to employment. The pandemic has shown that plenty of people lose their jobs through no fault of their own, despite their best efforts, and that should not condemn them to either going without healthcare or accumulating crippling debt when they lose their health insurance coverage. Among Us popularity. From now on, I will never not wear a mask when sick. I don't care if it's a tiny cold. If I so much as have the sniffles, I'm wearing a mask. It's honestly just common courtesy that I should have done for my whole life. Giving other humans the benefit of the doubt, and keeping my opinion to myself. My dogs have expected me to basically be around all the time and rub their bellies 24/7. My sanity. The way I look at the world. My life, because I'll be looking for a relationship. Well, a lot of things, but those are the main ones. Germophobia now becoming socially accepted and even encouraged. Thank goodness I got therapy for my germophobia years ago, else I'd be feeling so validated right now. I'd probably justify never leaving my house, never breathing unfiltered air, and never touching something with bare hands ever again. I often wonder what my therapist who helped cure me would be thinking right now. Scary time to be alive. Probably the 2 or 3 cheek kisses in French, Belgian, or Dutch culture. I'm not super sad about that trend, but I do still love the form of respectful contact, if that makes sense. Face masks will be mandatory in hospitals. No contact delivery. Trust in the US government. Those ball pits for kids are probably a thing of the past. Playgrounds in general are going to have to be rethought as a concept going forward. Seeing people's faces in public indoor places without masks. It feels like seeing someone's exposed butthole right now. Dating is going to get even more app-related, which isn't good for most people honestly. Especially if people work at home more and don't go out for entertainment. The word quarantine used to lead everyone to think of hazmat suits and whatnot, but now everyone just thinks of being locked at home. Dave and Buster's. I don't think it's gonna make it, and I'm going to miss that place. Seriously, I have at least $40 of credit on a bunch of their cards, and I guess at this point I just have to chalk that up as a loss. History. I hope meetings like school board, PTA, church organizations, etc. will continue to at least have a Zoom option, if not stay entirely online. Our local school board has had about 10x their normal turnout for the meetings since they moved online. Part of that was all of the uncertainty over the plans for this fall, but a lot was also that people are willing to watch a school board meeting from their couch but not leave the house in the evening to go to one.